Doing good. I'm in full hibernation, as you know.
So,
Yeah.
so Amanda, guys, is in Indonesia. And the crazy thing about Indonesia, if you look at a map and you look at all the people that have been infected by the coronavirus, Indonesia's right in the middle of everything.
Yep.
And the weird part is they're saying that there isn't one person, not one, in Indonesia with the coronavirus. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Neither.
I don't think it's possible.
Me neither.
What do you
It's
think?
not possible. It's absolutely not possible, especially they just learned that there was 3 planes a week.
Hold on. One second. I want to catch this. Someone tried to call me, and whenever that happens, I lose you. Go ahead, Amanda.
Yeah, word.
Go ahead.
Okay. No, I just learned the other day, and I did tell you this, that there was 3 planes a week bringing tourists directly from Wuhan to Bali. 3 planes a week, direct flights. And they just stopped on February 5th when one guy in Wuhan was just in Bali for 7 days, and he's tested positive. And they're trying to say that it's not on my island.
Why would Indonesia try to hide this? Is it because they're worried about tourism not coming there? Probably, right?
Absolutely. There was an article in the news, and it was like it was a British news source, and it said, "Oh, Bali's looking like a ghost town," but that's not true, and it's not true. There's still heaps of tourists here, and that's why I'm not leaving my house. There's still heaps of tourists here. It's not a ghost town, but it should be. I wish it was.
And what would you say? Like, what's the percentage of people that are from China that are in Indonesia? Would you say?
Well, Indonesia is like a really big business center in connection with China. So there's a lot of business people here from China, but the tourists, apparently there's 5 million tourists a year that travel from China to Indo, specifically Bali. This is the most popular, I think, tourist place. But there's not a lot of Chinese tourists where I live in my neighborhood. But last week, we had friends here that were here last week. We went down to this one, it's the most popular tourist area. It's called Seminyak. So that's where everybody goes when they want like a posh vacation. It's kind of a westernized area. Anyways, we go down there for sunset. This was just last week. And honestly, the 3 of us were the only 3 Canadians were the only 3 non-Chinese amongst thousands of Chinese on the beach.
Wow. How scary was that?
Everybody wearing masks. Honestly, we got out of there. Like, we watched the sunset, and 10 minutes later, we were like, oh my God, let's go. Like, we just couldn't handle it. And we're walking down the street, there's like 5, and I don't mean, we're not racist, it's just fear, right? And we're walking down the street, and there's like a group coming towards us. They're not wearing masks, and we all just cross the street. We're like, oh. It's scary. It's really freaking scary.
Yeah.
But another thing is, dengue fever is a big thing here. So they're saying that maybe people are getting dengue fever, and meanwhile it's corona and they don't know. Or many people are traveling and they don't want to come to a hospital in Bali to get tested because they don't want to get quarantined in a foreign hospital. So they're just spreading it all around and then going back to their countries.
Now, you used to be a nurse, right?
Yeah.
So
Forever.
You were there when SARS outbreak happened, correct?
Yeah, I sure was. I was a nursing student when SARS came out.
And that was in Vancouver, correct?
No, that was in Toronto.
Oh, that was in Toronto. Okay.
That was in Toronto. I was doing my placement. I was doing my training in emergency at Mount Sinai. And it was during our reading week that so we weren't there during the very beginning. But half the staff died in the emergency.
Whoa. What do you mean half the staff? What do you mean half the staff died? Explain. What do you mean half the staff died?
A couple of the doctors died. Quite a few of the nurses died. This was before, how N95 masks are now the going thing for personal protection?
Yeah.
This was before that. So everybody in the hospital was only protecting themselves with surgical masks, like the same thing John was wearing the other day. and those don't protect you. So a couple of the doctors died. Quite a few of the nurses died. I'll send you an article. I gotta find it, but I'll send it to you.
Yeah. And so, okay, so you could have died, but you told me a story. You just happened not to be there that day, correct?
Yeah, that week. I wasn't there that week. Thank God. By the grace of God, I wasn't there that week.
Amanda is one of our members.
Still had people quarantined.
Someone's asking who Amanda is. Amanda is one of our members of the Rich TV Live community. She's from Victoria, from the island, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And she's from Vancouver. However, she lives now in Indonesia. She's been living there for how many years, Amanda?
Almost 4 years now.
Almost 4 years. And she's right in the heart of this virus because Indonesia is an island that is surrounded by countries that have been infected by the coronavirus. She's literally surrounded by the coronavirus. And I was on my last live stream telling her, get out, get out, get out. And then after we went live, I called her and I was trying to tell her to get out. And then she told me a whole bunch of reasons why she's not. And why don't you tell everyone your reason why you're not?
Well, first of all, I think there's so many people who aren't taking it seriously and aren't protecting themselves and could be sick and spreading it to other people. There's in the airports, they're not core cleaning the airports. These particles travel 3 meters. Like with all these plane loads that were bringing people to Bali from Wuhan, they just cleaned that plane on the 12th of February. So if you think about how many people had traveled on that plane and then transferred to other airlines and traveled on those airlines, and then they traveled on those airlines, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And how many flight attendants are still in their 14-day incubation period that they're not showing symptoms yet, but likely have it. Like truly, Rich, I'm so scared that if I travel home, which my family wants me to come home really bad. I told you my brother was literally crying. But I think it's riskier for me to travel home. And what if I get something and give it to my family who doesn't have a strong immune system and could get sick? I couldn't live with myself.
Yeah. I mean, you're a great person to think that way. I think so many people are so selfish. All they think about is themselves. They're not thinking about the fact that they could be killing other people and infecting other people.
Exactly.
So it's really nice. It's really nice to know that, you care about your family and you're not only thinking about yourself. So your brother was literally crying for you to come home. So he believes this is serious. He believes this is serious, correct? Because I'm running into people and everybody thinks this is not serious. Like 99% of the people that I talk to think this is not serious, but you believe it's serious.
Rich, in all my years in healthcare, I've seen so many pandemics. Like we've seen Ebola be a pandemic a couple times. SARS was a pandemic. MERS was an epidemic. MERS and SARS are both strains of coronavirus. Okay. Then on top of this, here's another thing that scares me. Asians are fully known to self-medicate. Like they'll go to you don't need a doctor's prescription to get anything from a pharmacy here. You just walk in and say, I need this, and they'll hand it to you. So you have all these people, millions of people self-medicating. When you're taking antibiotics and things like that, it's going to cause a virus to mutate. So not only are people self-medicating while they're spreading it around, but I think they're also going to cause it to mutate.
Wow.
Which is going to be even worse.
And this is just the start. This is just the start, people.
This is just the start.
Now, you were there when SARS broke out. This is already bypassed SARS by a long shot. There's more dead. Absolutely. There's more infected. And SARS was not in 29 countries. This is now in 29 countries. What do you think? Do you think, how bad do you think this is? Or how bad do you think this can get?
I think this can get so bad. Like, I told you, I wish I could write on a paper and show you the easiest. Oh, here's another thing. These countries are not being careful about what they're bringing in. Like, remember I told you the company that I work for, we have a factory in China and we import to Australia. And so Australia has blocked all flights directly from China. Okay. However, my factory is in China. I'm able to have a freight pickup in China and sent to Australia. However, it has to stop in Malaysia first. Same plane, same boxes.
This is why it's going to spread, people. I've been trying to tell you guys this. Our Canadian government is being ignorant for thinking that you should fly people directly from Wuhan into our country. This is how it spreads, folks.
All of us.
This is how it spreads, folks. And that's why we now have 8 Canadians infected, 5 in Vancouver alone. Now, you know how many Asians are in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And before we even had one infected, I said,
just Chinese New Year. So many people are going to be needing to come home from their travels with
their
family.
Yep. And I said before we even had one infected that Vancouver will be riddled with this. We now have 5 people infected. And guess what? A lady just got infected yesterday and she's white. She's not Asian.
Yeah, that's a big pile of crap. People saying only Asians are getting it. Like, come on now.
Let's be real.
We have the same insides. Just because your color looks different or your eyes are a different shape, we all have the same insides.
The virus doesn't care who it's going to kill and who it's going to infect.
Exactly.
Virus just wants to wipe people out.
Body, it's going to get you. It's not selective. It's going to get you. Like, I've never heard such stupidity in my life.
So I want to know, how is this affecting your business? Because you guys do business with China. Let's explain the economic factors. What is this doing to the business that you are in? Explain.
A lot. Well, it's actually raised our costs about 400% just in 1 week alone. 400% it's raised our costs in 1 week. So, like, yeah, we're risking being buried by this, really. The major ports, there's usually 100 freight ships a day going. There's really only 2 right now. 2. And like, this is a country that produces, like, they are factories, you know, that's what they do. Air freight, it's almost impossible. We have like one company that's going to do air freight, and that's a damn nightmare. People are still in quarantine and can't return to the factories. So anyone who's like supplying international stuff, like our factory staff has gone back, but not all of them, just in phases. Like, we've only had 1/3 of staff back. The rest are still on government quarantine, and they just went back to work on Monday.
You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy is there's a stock called Virgin Galactic. Are you aware of it?
Yep.
SPCE. It's been absolutely on fire. It's
because I'd love to go to space right now too.
Right? Because everybody's sitting here thinking, okay, when the planet gets riddled with a deadly virus and everybody's dead, or in
Mars,
let's go to another planet and start over. That's the solution.
I'm totally down. Like, pick me up along the way, because I'm totally down for that. Like,
it's so crazy.
Rich, I have fruit in my house. Like, I have a passion fruit tree and I have a coconut palm, and I'm eating those. I've filled my freezer. I have 5 20-liter bottles of water. I'm growing spinach and herbs, and I'm not leaving my house. I'm quarantining myself for a bit.
And Amanda,
found out how many people from Wuhan came here. I'm not leaving.
Just so you guys know, there's 51 people here and 9 likes. Amanda is in Indonesia. We are reporting live from Indonesia. I'm in Vancouver. Amanda's in Indonesia talking to us right now. Are you in Bali right now?
Yeah.
Okay, Amanda's in...
Bali is an island in Indonesia.
So Amanda is actually in Bali right now, and she is quarantining herself in her house. I really would appreciate it if you guys smash the like button. This is live. Amanda's a real person who happens to be living in Indonesia, which happens to be surrounded by all the countries that are infected by the coronavirus. So I'm very concerned by Amanda being there. I really hope you stay safe. And this is a great opportunity for people to ask questions, because Amanda's been telling me a lot about what she's doing. She literally is quarantining herself, and she may have to stay at home for months. And she's prepared to live. And Amanda, you told me you're not letting your maid come into your house. You're not letting your friends come to your house.
I can't do my own pool maintenance because I don't know how to do that. But when he comes, I have big bottles of bleach. Everything he touches will be bleached. My cat goes and visits everybody in my neighborhood, but I just soak her down with Purell as soon as she comes back in. Oops. But honestly, because she goes and visits all the villas in the neighborhood, And then when she comes in, I'm like, ugh. So I know
crazy.
it sounds paranoid, but like I said, Rich, like I'm a pretty healthy person. However, I don't want to catch it and give it to other people either, you know?
Yeah, of course.
And plus, you just don't know. Like, I was under the impression that doctor that died in China was like our age, and he's in his young 30s.
34 years old. 34 years old. So everyone's saying, what's old people? Well, is 34 old? Because that's 8 years younger than me. So that means that we're susceptible not just to catch this, but to die. That's how dangerous this is. And I'm not ready to die.
And I love my life. I don't want to die. I'm just finally living the life that I worked for forever. I'm not ready to die. I'm just starting out. You know? So yeah, hell no. But another thing is that, like, I hear everybody saying, oh, well, you know, influenza kills 63,000 people every year. And this is just like influenza. I'm like, no, influenza actually does only kill people who already have health conditions. This is proven to be much, much different.
Well, yeah, because when's the last time you heard a doctor treat someone with the flu and then they die?
Exactly. When I worked in the hospital, people would come in with influenza and you'd just be like, meh, I've had it. It's not a big deal. It sucks. You're weak. You feel crappy, but you're not going to die. You know? But this I think is much worse. And of course, CDC and World Health Organization, they don't even know the full truth anyways, because China's being super sketchy about what information they're sharing with other countries. Like, Rich, Asia is well known. All Asia, like, I'm in Southeast Asia, but all of Asia is well known that their governments, they lie. They just do. It's just how it goes. They just lie.
Yeah, I mean, you've got this deadly virus, and the president a few weeks ago came out saying this was a state of emergency. When the president of China comes out and says that this is a state of emergency, you got to take it serious, because there's no way he wants to do that.
Right, because it's going to F their economy. It already is.
Oh, the economy's getting shattered.
Yeah.
Completely shattered. And that's the other thing is, the US market and the Canadian market is at all-time highs and continues to do a market melt up, which I predicted. But when I predicted that, I never anticipated we'd have a deadly global virus that's going to be wiping people out. Right. So how long can they manipulate this market in the middle of a deadly global epidemic?
Okay, think about this. Think about Shopify and Alibaba. Okay, I sold those 2 weeks ago when Corona started, because I know that I know people that live here that are millionaires from Shopify, and all of the things that they buy on Shopify, they buy from Alibaba, and all that stuff is manufactured in China, right?
Yeah.
So I sold thinking that it was all going to go to crap. And 2 days after I sold, it just all blew up. I was like, no. How did that happen? You know?
What's funny is that the reality is it's not going to show up on these companies' financial reports until the next 2 Qs. Yeah, you're right. So you're right. Because because this is still, and it's a smart way to think, because there's so much going on right now, it's not going to affect their balance sheets until, I would say, not really this next, a lot of these companies are reporting right now. So we're reporting from before this outbreak was even really talked about. So on the next reports, I think you're going to see it's going to be affecting all of these companies that are doing business in China. Disney's already reported that there's going to take a $280 million hit. That was assuming that people were going to go back to work, I think, by now, which I know that they're still not back to work in China yet.
No, they're still not back to work. So they're allowing them to go, because we run a factory there. They're allowed to go them back to work in phases. So our factory, we have about a third of our staff went back last Monday. So it's only been 6 days, but the rest can't, and there's many others that aren't open yet. So that means that they've been closed now for an entire month.
Crazy.
That's an entire month of no production, because everything closed down.
Catastrophic.
Yeah, everything closed. I think it was January 20th to start Chinese New Year. And then during Chinese New Year, that's when it happened. Which makes this worse, though, because everybody travels during Chinese New Year. So it's everywhere.
What do you think about the fact?
Scare me.
What do you think about the fact that there was 11 million people in Wuhan, and then they announced that they were going to quarantine the city, and 5 million people left. 5 million people.
More than that.
Half of the city left.
Chris sent me a voice message from somebody that knew somebody in Wuhan or in that area. These are I think Chinese from Vancouver. He sent this voice message. I'll forward to you later. And it was this woman saying, you wouldn't believe it was just when the quarantine started. And I'm pretty sure she said 20,000 people escaped quarantine. And they literally said, if I'm going to die, I'm just going to take everybody with me.
Whoa.
That was their mentality. I'll forward you the voice message in a bit. I was like, wow.
What?
Well, let me see if I can forward it now. I might be able to forward it while we're talking. I know I can't play it while we're talking, but
that is so disturbing. And this is why now the Chinese are literally going door to door in the epicenter of this outbreak, and they're pulling people out of their homes, testing their temperatures.
But the thing is that it has an incubation of up to 14 days where you're still contagious but not going to have symptoms. So that doesn't mean crap.
You know, that's the other thing that really pissed me off is our government decided to fly people in from the epicenter, which I don't agree with, and I'll never agree with it. I think we should have had a global travel ban to be able to really stop this from getting everywhere. We're now in 29 countries, by the way. I thought we should have had a global travel ban, and I said that day one when we had 1 death and 300 infected. Now we've got 1,526 dead, 67,100 infected. Those numbers are just mind-boggling. And the reality is they're only going to get worse. And our government is like, oh, no problem. We'll fly you in. We'll fly you in. And the best part was they didn't just fly in Canadians. They flew in. I was listening to the radio. They flew in a Chinese man who's not even Canadian. Oh, we'll bring him in too. Come on in. Yeah, they flew in a Chinese national. He's not even Canadian. Exactly. Why? Maybe they've got an agenda. Clearly.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so we're not safe.
Where did you use those voice messages?
We're not safe. We're not safe here. When they're flying in people right. You're going to fly people in from Wuhan into my city? That's what they're doing. And then what they did, Amanda, which I also didn't agree with, is they said they're going to quarantine them for 14 days. And I'm sitting here going, how do you know 14 days is enough?
Exactly.
We haven't even done enough.
Then you have to put on another 14.
We haven't even had enough time to test this. Nobody knows how much time you need to incubate these people. So who's to say?
You have to get tested. How many people are having symptoms and not getting tested? That's one thing they're saying here in Bali. They're like, people are probably having fevers and sickness, but they just think it's dengue fever, which is like a common mosquito illness that gives you a fever. So people are just thinking it's that, which isn't contagious, and still spreading it all over the place.
I just can't understand why people are not taking this serious. When you see people are dying.
You have to think about, if you get it, you can kill other people. So even if you don't care about your own health, care about other people.
It's murder. That's murder. Yeah. If you know you have a deadly virus and you're purposely trying to get other people contaminated with this virus, that's murder.
Right.
That's murder.
I was actually really proud when I heard about the first case in Vancouver. I was really proud about Vancouver Coastal that they quarantined that guy at his home. Because to me, quarantining someone in a hospital is even more unsafe because not everybody is diligent about protection and spread of virus, right?
It's brutal.
I really do believe that quarantining in your house is the best way. Can you see those voice messages I just sent you?
Let's see. Well, the problem is
if you can see it,
if I listen to the voice message, I'm not going to be able to hear you.
Oh, I'll shut up. It's only 30 seconds.
Okay, hold on one second. Just hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Let me try to play this.
Oh, you guys. So I just got news because Charlie's friend knows people in China, more higher up. And he said that, the news reports it says about like 1,000 plus people are infected. That's not true. Close to 100,000 people are infected. And then before the Wuhan city shut down yesterday at 10 a.m., 22,900 people managed to escape. So they're really worried that Shanghai and Beijing airport is going to close down too. But yeah, so just thought I'd let you guys know, wear your mask and make sure you wash your hands.
And when was this sent to you?
That was last week. That was actually Chris's friend sent that because she has a friend that was right in China and she sent that to us.
Wow. Okay, let me listen to the next one. Hold on.
Also said that in Wuhan, like people would rip off the doctor's mask and be like, okay, if I'm gonna die, then we'll all die together. It's fucked.
Oh my God. What the hell? What's wrong with people? Like what?
Yeah, that was last week.
Why would someone do that? That is just so evil. What's wrong with people? Jeez.
And that was like, she has a friend directly in China, so that's where that info came from. And that was last week. So when I heard that, I was like, wow.
Wow.
And truthfully, I think half of them came here. Our immigration office has been granting emergency stays for Chinese who don't want to go home. This is what I heard. Our immigration office is allowing these people to stay here.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, are you kidding me?
So there was a question. Somebody's asking, what does Indonesia have to do with the coronavirus? If you guys have actually taken a look at a map and you look at where Bali is, Bali is right in the middle of all the countries that have the coronavirus. It's right in the middle.
Yeah.
And the government in Bali and Indonesia is saying they have 0 infections. That worries me more than anything. Now, why would they say they have 0 infections? Because it's a small country, it's a third world country, and they survive off of tourism. So if you sit there and you say to the whole world, oh, by the way, we've got the coronavirus, well, guess what? Nobody's coming to Indonesia.
Exactly. That is what you hit the nail on the head right there. If you look, the CDC has a map right on their homepage under the COVID-19. If you look on the CDC, you'll see a map of where all the cases are, and it's all around Indonesia and none here. Like, don't tell me it skipped us. Like, we're not idiots. Especially that you were bringing in 3 direct flights full of them during the whole time, all the way up until February 5th. Don't even tell me that.
What about the fact, which is crazy, that was last week. So that is just frightening as all hell. What about the fact that I've had people say to me, Rich, what about the fact that China is the most super powerful country in Asia, and all the other countries don't want to report huge numbers because they don't want to piss off China? Is that a thing? Have you thought about that?
I actually never even thought about that. That honestly has not crossed my mind. I don't know.
I'm just saying. I mean, like,
so.
But
I'm not sure. I could change my opinion, but right now I'm thinking no. Only just because most Asian countries think they're better than the others. Affected Bali's tourism for about 10 years. So, I think they're scared that if people are, because apparently 5 billion Chinese tourists come to Bali. This island is the same size as Kona, Hawaii. We're about the same size as Kona. Yeah. So still pretty small to have 5 million Chinese tourists a year.
Wow, Brock is saying China is paying countries to not test. What the hell is going on? Are we in the Twilight Zone?
That could be possible. I do think it could be possible, but I also think that people aren't getting tested because they don't want to be quarantined in a foreign country, me included.
Okay, so let's explain that. So I have 2 friends that went to visit you. You and all your friends, including some guys from Australia, that you guys all got sick.
We were all sick.
How many of you guys? Like 8 people?
There's 6 Australians, me and our 2 friends.
So 9 people.
4 other friends that I have who live here.
13 people. And every one of you got sick?
We were all sick. We were all coughing, fevered, vomiting. Yeah. We
were
all sick.
And you guys legitimately thought at that point that you might have the coronavirus, correct?
Yep, sure did. Yeah, we did. We were all just like, oh no, here we go. We actually, like the three, well, me and our two friends, we actually went to this little island far away, and we were thinking that we were just gonna like, have a weekend party. Nah, we were so sick. We just like laid by the pool and died. Like we went out one night for like 2 hours, but it took everything we had to even get out of bed, and we just kept saying, shit, what if we got this? Like maybe we did, but we're all better now. But it was pretty scary. I'm not gonna lie, I was scared.
Yeah, of course it's scary. Now,
Yeah.
what
I'm like, you idiots! Why aren't you canceling your flight? Come another time.
Amanda literally
Like,
told
no,
them
I'm
not
so
to come.
excited.
You want to talk about people that don't care? People just don't take this seriously, guys. These
I
people are
know.
flying from Calgary into Indonesia, which is surrounded by all these infected countries,
Mhm.
and they're flying right into Bali like nothing's happening.
You want to hear the best part? I'm like, where's your flights routed? So they fly to LA, and then from LA to Manila, which everybody's rerouting to Manila. Like China is rerouting to Manila. So to Manila, and then Manila, Philippines to here. But I'm like, all the flights from China are going from China to Manila to here.
Wow.
Like they're not allowing the direct ones in, but everybody's rerouting. Doesn't mean they're not coming. They're just rerouting to places that are less careful.
And that's exactly how it's going to spread. Right there.
Right.
That's how it's spreading, guys. You wanted to know how it's spreading? There it is. So
yeah, like nobody's being diligent or smart. Like,
because people don't think that this is real. Meanwhile,
real.
San Diego, apparently, Michelle Clark in our community here chat is saying that San Diego is in a state of emergency. San Diego has declared San Diego apparently has declared a state of emergency. So I have no idea. I have no idea why. I have no idea why. But she's saying that San Diego is declaring a state of emergency. Certain people are going to take this more seriously than others. San Diego is one of the most beautiful places in the world to live. You think they want to destroy their city? They don't want to destroy their city. They want their city and their people to be safe. Some people are going to take this more seriously than others. Clearly, Trudeau and Canada isn't taking this seriously. They're flying people in right from Wuhan. They're just flying them right in, right from the epicenter. Let's bring people in right from the epicenter. Fly them in. Oh, yeah, you're from China? You can come in too. This is what's going on here in Canada.
It's so sad, eh? And you know what, too, is that even if you put them in the hospital in quarantine, I can tell you from personal experience that there is so many people that have access to any patient who's quarantined. And if not everybody is diligent because they're not educated properly, then it gets spread. So, like, this is just the simple things. Like, the housekeeper, the person who delivers the patient the food, they can bring in the food tray. And I've seen this happen in other disease outbreaks in a hospital. Someone brings in a food tray to a patient. The patient eats, touches everything, drools all over everything, and they take the same tray and bring it back to the room with everybody else. And they touched it. Wow. And they didn't do anything about it. Like, these things happen. It's like everybody needs to be so educated about personal protection, and I don't think anybody is taking it seriously, which is why I'm staying home. Like, I really am. And I know it sounds silly, but I'm staying home, and I'm not letting anybody come in.
Please stay home.
I'm not.
Please stay home.
I am.
Now, aren't you worried? Aren't you worried that your friends from Calgary could bring it into your home?
Yes.
So why don't you just tell them not to come?
I told them I'm not going to see them. Well, they'll probably just go do tourist stuff.
So they're not actually going. So you're not actually going to see them.
Coming to see me, but no, I was. They were coming to see me, but I'm not going to see them.
Smart.
Sorry,
very smart.
No,
You're very smart.
You should cancel your flight, but I just don't want to. Like, I really don't want to. Really don't want to. Like, especially that night I told you, me and our friends went to Sunset that night, and we were surrounded by Chinese tourists, and I honestly didn't even want to breathe. And it's not about race. Like, I have plenty of friends from China. I get this. It's just that there's things that they're bringing in, and I don't want to be around anybody. So yeah, no. And if you're a tourist, when you're coming from Calgary to here, I know you're passing lots of infected people. Plus, in your hotel, how do you know your hotel is cleaning properly? You know, how do you know that the restaurant you went to, that you're not touching a table or a plate that somebody else touched because it lives on surfaces for 9 days? So I'm like, sorry guys, like I need to protect myself. So you can come, but I'm not going to see you.
I think that's the smart way to do it, Amanda, because at the end of the day, you just don't know who's carrying this virus.
Exactly.
Why would you want to take
have a great trip?
Yeah, why would you want to take that risk? I mean, you at the end of the day, all we have is our health. So forget money, right? Money can't help you when you have a deadly virus. Like, let's talk about all the people that got infected. Like, there's been 3 cruise ships that have been quarantined. Now, in order to go on those cruise ships,
3 now? Where are they? I know about the Japan one. I don't know the others.
you know what? I don't have all the information in front of me, but I know that there's 3 cruise ships that have been infected. All of them are in Asia. And these cruise ships, the amount of infected has just been alarming. And apparently they said that people got infected by a cruise ship that was, once people left,
not clean.
They came onto the cruise ship and they got infected by previous infections that were on the cruise ship. That to me that means this is airborne.
Right, it is airborne.
It's airborne. But they don't want to say it's airborne. They don't want to say it's airborne. Of course it's airborne.
If you look at SARS and MERS, any respiratory disease is airborne.
Exactly.
Any respiratory disease.
But for some reason, they don't want to say it's airborne. So there was a building.
Absolutely 100% airborne. Bet my life on that one.
There was a building where someone was like on the 12th floor, and then somebody got it on the 3rd or 4th floor of the building. So
they might have touched the same elevator button as well. Like, these are the things you have to think about too. It lives on surfaces for up to 9 days.
They said that they think it came from feces, from the pipes.
Yeah, I don't get that part because it's a respiratory
what?
illness.
I'm like, where are you getting these concepts? So it's just like,
E. coli comes from feces, but this is a respiratory illness. So I'm not so sure about the feces part. But you have to remember that if you touch something that somebody else infected touched within 9 days, you're going to absolutely get sick. So if you think about an airplane, just like a cruise ship, look how many people can infect. Like, when I learned that there was 3 direct flights a week going from Wuhan to my island, carrying people, and all those planes are going to many other places. This is Lion Air and Garuda International. These are the flights that this guy was on. Garuda is a huge airline, right?
Yeah.
So you have all those flight attendants flying on different airplanes, going to different countries and different cities, touching different people. Yeah, you can go ahead and test them for a fever, but they're still, until they get the fever, they're still contagious. So
now, what do you think about the fact that we were talking about INO? INO is a stock that is a vaccine company.
Yeah,
and
Inovio,
they're one of the leaders that is really pushing to get a vaccine out there. However, even though they feel like they're getting close to getting a vaccine, still has to get FDA approval.
Right, and they can't do that right now. China's not allowing. So Inovio, because I invested in Inovio right in the beginning and made a little money and got back out because so they've taken the virus and they've done a DNA breakdown. So they have a DNA sequence on the virus. However, it needs to be tested. There's not enough cases in North America for them to test it, and China is not letting the researchers come into China to test their cases. So why would China not let researchers who can help cure their people, why aren't they letting them in? Because maybe it's a lot worse than we're telling. Because Asia is known to lie. That's what they do. That's what they do.
Wow.
Did China ever tell you that they kill baby girls? Did they ever tell you that stuff?
Of course not.
They're still doing that.
Of course.
They're still doing that. You have an extra baby girl, they just go throw it in a field. Do they tell you that? No. It's just... So yeah, no, and I'm not just saying just China, like Indonesia lies, Japan lies. It's just an Asian thing. They lie. They just don't want to tell everybody. And they don't want anyone to think that they're terrible. Which they're not, but they really got to get their infection control under control. So that's why I'm staying home, and I have no problem with that. And I know I'm healthy staying home. And if people think I'm crazy, that's fine too. But I'll be alive, and that means a lot to me.
All you have is yourself out there. So just please do everything you can to protect yourself. Don't put
100%
yourself at risk. It's not worth it. Just don't. Like I believe this is going to be a 12 to 18 month ordeal.
I was supposed to go to this art exhibition the other day that I was so excited for, super stoked. And it was about 5 hours before going to that I found out about the guy who tested positive after leaving Bali. They're saying he didn't catch it in Bali. They're saying he didn't spread it in Bali. But I was just like, y'all are full of baloney. I'm not going. And I didn't go. I just can't do it. Nope. I love my home. I have everything I need here. I got lots of books. And that's all I'm going to do. And research a little more trading. My trade game is going to be on point in the next couple of weeks, though.
Well, yeah, because you're going to have a lot of time to definitely focus on it.
Exactly. So yeah, it's pretty scary, but I think it's just as unsafe for you, Rich, in Vancouver as it is for me here.
I do
because
too.
You're surrounded by Asia as well.
Yeah, I know.
I
mean, I've been saying that. I'm in Vancouver. Before we even had one case, I said, watch, Vancouver's going to get tons of cases. And now we have 5.
Yeah.
And there's only reported 8 in Canada. 5 of them are here. I don't think people understand. This is Vancouver. This is I would say a third of Vancouver is Asian. A third.
Yeah.
At least.
You're not doing proper infection control either, or testing. They're testing people for fevers. That's it. Look at when Chris and Tiffany came home. All they did was there was a little guy at the airport who radared their face in Hong Kong, and then away they go.
Wow.
So any Chinese who are coming through, they just temperature radar you, and then away you go too. And then everyone's breathing the same air on the plane. When they were leaving here, you should have seen, I was crazy. I'm like, do you have masks? Make sure you have alcohol. Make sure you have this. Wipe down every surface. It's don't touch a thing. Wear gloves. Oh, yeah, I was going crazy.
The crazy part is I have a friend of mine, John. We were talking about him, and he's there. Mm-hmm. And he's part of a group chat with a bunch of my buddies. And I sent him an article saying, hey, bro, get out of there. You have a chance to get out of there. Yeah. Get out, get out. Canada's bringing it. Canada's bringing everybody back. Get out. You know what I mean? Trudeau's come on in, guys. Oh, you're coughing?
I think it was just
no problem.
Chinese New Year. How many Canadian Chinese people would have went to Chinese New Year in China to see families? And now that Chinese New Year is over, they're all going to be coming back home. And they might all be in their incubation period and not know they're sick yet. And so they get a little temperature radar in the airport, but they're not sick yet. And they still pass it to everybody else. When you think about the chain of infection, it's next level scared shit. I don't care what the media tells you or who says you're a fear monger or whatever it is. It's real. It's really freaking real.
But this is the thing I don't understand, okay? Trudeau is trying to save Canadians by risking. So to save 50 Canadians, you're going to risk 37 million?
Are they quarantining the people returning, or what are they doing?
Yeah, they're quarantining them. They're quarantining them, but how do we know how long they need to be quarantined? I don't get it. How do you know how long you need to quarantine these people? First they said...
Apparently once they found one, well, then you know that one could have infected 5 others, so you need to wait 2 more weeks to see if they get sick. If one of those gets sick, you have to wait to see if for 2 more weeks if anybody that they touch gets sick. This can go on for a long time.
And they said that it was 2 weeks, right? Now they're saying it's 24 days that you need to be quarantined. Nobody knows.
24 days, is it now?
Yeah, now they're saying it's 24 days. Nobody knows. So you're going to go and risk 37 million Canadians to save 50 people?
Yeah, just send them a little money to buy some food and let them stay where they were and quarantine themselves where they are instead of infecting the airplanes.
I just don't understand. I just don't understand how you put 37 million people at risk that are thousands of miles away from the epicenter, and you're flying people in, and they're even flying in Chinese nationals. They're not even Canadian. Oh, you're from China? Come on in. We're Canada.
Can't come home.
Come
That's why
on
I
in.
can't come home.
We're Canada.
You know,
Come on in.
when my brother was calling me, and honestly, God, bitch, it broke my heart to hear how scared he was. And honestly, like, my brother's 31 years old, and he was crying like someone died, poor kid. And I just said, George, I can't. Like, I just can't. It's more safe for me to stay home. Like, everybody should just stay where they are right now. Stay where they are and let it die off.
Yeah, I think there should be a global travel ban. That's the only way you can stop this. A global travel ban. Am I the only one saying this? I think if we push enough and we talk enough about a global travel ban, maybe the media will start to talking about it. Like, we're alternative media. We're alternative media, right?
It's the only way you're going to stop it.
If mass media starts pressuring all the governments to close their borders, then we have a chance to stop this before it becomes 10 times worse. Well, guess what?
Think about mutations, okay? SARS was the first coronavirus. Then MERS was the next one. MERS was just a couple years ago, right? And now COVID-19 is the third one. Do people not realize that these diseases mutate and become worse?
Of course.
Like, this is what's happening.
Yeah, of course.
It really is. It is what's happening.
It's just the start. It's just the start. We don't have a vaccine. People are dying.
I know.
67,000 have been infected in 29 countries. And it's just the start.
Yeah.
I predicted when there was one dead, 3 weeks ago, my first video, I predicted when there was one dead and 300, I said this is going to go to 100 countries. This is going to kill way more people than what they're saying. And this is going to be 10 times worse than what they're telling us. Here we fast forward 3 weeks later, 1,526 dead, 67,100 infected in 29 countries.
Those are the only ones that have tested positive, though, too, Rich.
That's why the numbers.
People that are sick and not going to the doctors.
That's why the numbers will just. That's why the numbers will just continue to get higher and higher and higher and higher.
Remember, I told you when we were all sick. What did you just count? How many numbers? Like 13 of us. None of us got tested. None of us, because we were scared.
Yeah, but the thing is, we don't want to stop travel because of the economy. Who cares about the economy? What economy?
Yeah,
what economy are we going to have when we're all dead? We're not going to have an economy. Your money doesn't save you with a virus, guys. It isn't going to save you, okay? So forget about money for a second. Let's talk about our safety and human preservation. Let's talk about our preservation of mankind. Why would you be flying people in the center of a deadly outbreak when you don't even know the facts? Unless you have a death wish.
Countries don't stop it. Everybody needs to be responsible for themselves, because what if you think you're invincible, which most people do right now, even people that I know here that know how many people now, we just learned this week how many people have come from Wuhan directly here during this time. And I still have so many friends here who are just thinking it's a farce. And I'm like, well, guess what? You're not going to see me for a long time. I don't want to be anywhere near you because you don't seem to care.
Exactly.
And so I'm just like, no, I'm not going around anybody. I'm not going to infect anybody. And I'm not getting infected by people. If everybody does that, then it's going to die off on its own little natural selection path.
Yeah.
But if everyone keeps ignoring it, how are you going to feel? Like, so my family wants me to come home and you want me to come home too. I get that. But how would I feel? Imagine I come to your house thinking that I'm fine and then your kids get sick because of me. Do you think I could ever live with that?
Yeah, because you're a nice person. You actually have a heart and you actually care about other people. But unfortunately,
this is how people should be thinking.
But there's not everybody thinks that way. Like when I was listening on the radio to the people that were being brought back home, they were talking about Trudeau being a hero. They didn't care about infecting everybody else. They only cared about getting their asses out. That's all they care about. They're talking about how Trudeau's a hero. Yeah, they're like, oh, all we care about is Trudeau's a hero. We love Trudeau. He saved us. I got my family, my friends. And guess what? This guy that was talking on the radio, his wife was from Indonesia. So his wife was from Indonesia. He's living in China. He's Canadian, and they've got mixed kids. So one of his kids was getting tested for a fever, and they thought one of his kids was going to have to stay. So he was really scared because he's like, oh my God, if my son has to stay, we're all going to stay. We're not going to leave my son to die, right? So they were all scared, but then they let his son go. Well, how do we know his son doesn't have the coronavirus?
Yeah, so the tests are taking a few days. Like even
Exactly.
if anyone gets tested in Bali, they still have to fly that test because they don't have a lab in Bali that can test it. So there is like 30 people in Sanglat Hospital here on Bali that they're testing, that they have quarantined. They have to fly the test to Jakarta. There's only one lab in Jakarta, in the capital of Indonesia, which is on another island, Java. And then you have to wait for those tests to be completed. And then they have to retest you. So, it could take a full week before you even get results back.
Oh my God. So this year, I didn't even realize this. This year, the Olympics is in China?
Yeah, they canceled it, didn't they? I thought they were canceling it.
How can you have the Olympics in China?
Let's bring all our elite athletes
What
over
the?
and kill all their lungs. Let's do that.
Nobody's going to China.
Great idea.
There ain't nobody going to the China for the Olympics.
Rechards.
No, sorry, it's in
I
Japan.
thought they were canceling
Sorry,
it.
it's in Japan. And Japan is the
Oh, right,
second.
so that's South Korea.
Japan is the second most infected country in the world right now.
Exactly, they're neighbors.
Ain't nobody going to
So
Japan.
are we.
Ain't nobody going to Japan for that Olympics.
Oh, I wouldn't. Hell no. Hell no.
Japan is the second highest infected country in the world. I have the numbers right here. Look at this. Check this out. So 67,000.
I'm on my phone.
Okay, so I have a really cool website. It's called worldometers.info. They update all the numbers. Worldometers.info. Guys, take a look at this. This site is crazy. This is where I get all my stats every day. People have been asking me where I get my stats. I'm sharing with you guys where I get my stats.
Say it again. What's it called?
Worldometers.info. And this updates daily with all the mass media numbers. So 67,100 cases, 1,526 deaths, 8,206 recovered. Active cases right now, 57,368. Mild condition, 46,286, 81% of that. Serious and critical condition. These are people that could die. 19%, 11,082 people in serious or critical condition. That's not a good number. That's a scary, frightening number. Closed cases.
Times that, times every person that they've been in touch with.
Correct.
In contact with.
Correct.
And then the ones they've been in contact with. Do you remember that old Mike Myers movie? Which one was it where they show this person tells that person this person? It's like that.
Oh, yeah. It just spreads like wildfire. And then closed cases, 9,732 closed cases, which means people that have recovered or discharged, 84%, 8,206. 16% of those cases have died, 1,526. This website, are you on it? It shows.
No, I'm just turning my.
It shows the total cases shooting up like a hockey stick, and the total deaths are shooting up like a hockey stick. They started reporting. The total cases started reporting January 22nd. That was when I started reporting 300 cases and 1 death. Mm-hmm. January 23rd was the first death. That's when I started doing my first video.
January 22nd is when that positive guy flew from Wuhan to Bali.
There you go.
January 22nd is the date that man flew here.
There you go. So in a matter of 3 weeks since I've been recording this and I've been monitoring this, we went from 1 dead to 1,526 dead. And the number, it looks like a hockey stick. It's just shooting up. And the amount of cases went from 300 to over 60,000 in 3 weeks. Now let's talk about the countries. Because remember, they're going to have an Olympics in Japan. Everyone's saying, well, guess what? China's got 66,492 cases, 2,641 overnight in 1 day, 1,523 dead, and 143 died overnight, recovered 8,109, and serious and critical condition in China, 11,053. So now, remember, Japan has the Olympics, right? Do you honestly think they're going to tell us the real numbers? Japan.
No, hell no.
Think about it. They have way too much to lose, right? Japan, the second highest infected country in the world, 259 cases, just had their first death. I'm on it right now. Total recovered, 11.
These numbers go. Holy shit.
How scary is that?
See these numbers going in real time?
Yeah. Yeah, this is the site I've been following and I've been reporting off of every single day. And it's.
But also people need to know that there's so much not being reported. So
correct.
People hiding in their homes. So many, because we did the same thing.
And if you're Japan and you've got the Olympics coming, do you want to report big numbers?
Hell no, that's big money for them.
Yeah,
Korea's Olympics. They make
billions,
huge money on that.
billions.
Exactly.
So they're not going to
Right.
report the real numbers, and they're already reporting the second most cases in the world, including the first death. And there are 9 people in serious and critical condition in Japan, 11 that have recovered, and 259 cases, including 1 death. So you can see all the countries that are infected by this. And America.
When you were saying this is just like influenza, you're full of baloney, because honestly, influenza does only kill people that have decreased immune system. This is killing young, healthy people. No matter what they're telling you, you look at the ages of the people that are catching it and dying, they're young people. Don't tell me at 34 years old you have all these extra comorbidities that are going to kill you from a flu. This BS. This is nasty.
February 15th, they announced 193 new cases and 3 new deaths occurring outside of Hubei province in China on February 14th have been reported by the National Health Commission of China. So, I mean, these numbers, I mean, you see the website I'm on. Like, these numbers are like, this reports, and this, you can scroll down. Like, this literally has been reporting day by day, everything. All the stats are there. And you can see how crazy and how fast these numbers are growing. It's nuts.
Oh, it's beyond.
It's nuts.
It's beyond.
So when you actually look at it properly and you see all the countries, all the infections, and you see all the numbers growing every single day, it's extremely disturbing. And you see the 2 charts with the total cases and the total deaths. See how they're just pointing right up? That doesn't tell me that this is... Yeah, this is not telling me that this is stopping anytime soon.
No, it's not.
This is only going to escalate.
With people being so secretive, it's not. Like, I just can't believe that my island is trying to say we have no cases when you were bringing in over 600 people a week from the epicenter for 3 weeks. Like, how can you tell me that? So anybody that tells me that I'm being silly for staying home, I'm like, I love my home. I have a beautiful little home. I have everything I need here, and I don't need anybody else coming over. That's it. That's it. You know? I saw that somebody in the live chat said they saw that video that we had looked at.
The one with the I don't really want to talk about it too much, but I got sent a video because I honestly don't know, right? I got sent a video from a subscriber on door. They're taking people's temperatures and they're pulling people out of their homes. We've seen the videos. I've seen the videos. People are fighting not to be taken. They're fighting for their lives, right? So maybe there's been, some of these people have been assaulted. Maybe they've been attacked, because I don't know. I have no evidence. I don't even know if the video is real, but this is going to get worse, people. This is going to get worse.
I watched it 3 times. I was like, oh, it looks pretty real.
This is going to get worse. This is going to get worse. It's very scary.
Voice messages, though. You know, those voice messages were just like from over a week ago, maybe like 10 days ago. And did you hear her say like how many people escaped the quarantine? I wouldn't doubt if these are people finding the ones that escaped quarantine.
Yeah,
like
that's a good point too.
Together in my head.
That's a good point too. You know, like if you escape quarantine, then you could potentially be murdering other people by infecting them.
Right.
So
it's kind of like good and bad. They might be getting murdered, but they also may have murdered others. So, because I do think it's still murder. If you ignore it, like that's why I'm not coming home, and that's why I'm not leaving my house. If you are ignorant to something and you kill somebody, I'm sorry, but you murdered them.
Of course.
That's just my personal opinion. It's how I feel.
It's no different. It's no different than having AIDS and sleeping with people and trying to infect them. It's the exact same thing.
Yes.
How is it any different?
Bang on.
It's not different. If you have the flu and you know you have the flu, you're not supposed to go to school, right? Like if my son has the flu, he's not supposed to go to school and give people the flu.
Right.
So if you've got a deadly virus that's killing people and infecting people and making them ill, and you're spreading it purposely, that's murder.
Exactly. One of my friends, him and his wife have 2 kids, and their kids are in a next level private school here, but they've taken their kids out of school and they're homeschooling for at least a month now. At least a month. Because you just don't know. What if the teacher is out in the tourist areas and comes to school? What if, you don't know. So, yeah. I think the best thing is for everybody, even if your country isn't telling you to quarantine, just do it for yourself and your family. Even if you think you're okay, do it for your family. You know? I just think we all have to do our own, not listen to whatever the government tells you, because they're just trying not to cause panic. But you should be, you know? And I don't care if people think that I'm crazy. Maybe I am, but at least I'm going to live.
Yeah, exactly. Who gives a shit what other people think? You're talking about your own safety.
Yeah,
they don't care.
exactly.
They don't care if you die, but you do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's crazy. It's
And
just
like my
nuts.
friends that are coming, they might go home and be like, "Oh, Amanda's such a bitch. She didn't hang with me." But I'm like, I warned you. I said cancel your flights. Come another time when it's safer, because I'm not going anywhere and you're not coming into my house. Sorry, not happening.
Yeah, Trudeau. Dylan Fraser saying Trudeau. Yeah, Trudeau decided to fly a bunch of people in from the epicenter directly from Wuhan. What do you guys think about
Are
that?
they in already?
Oh yeah, they're here. They're here. We got some people in
Where are
Edmonton.
they?
I heard there's like
Are they in
50.
the hospital?
Yeah, there's like 50 people in Edmonton in quarantine, and I hear that there's people in Trenton, Ontario, in quarantine.
Wow.
And I even when I heard on the radio the gentleman that was talking about how Trudeau was a hero for saving so many Canadians, he mentioned how they even flew in a Chinese national that's not even Canadian. I said, "Wow, Trudeau's such a hero."
That one's not sitting well with me at all. How
Trudeau
is
is
that
such a hero. What a hero.
We don't have a huge population that needs to get controlled in Canada. Are you kidding me?
Now, my question is, what do you think that person did to get on that plane? Let's be honest.
Oh,
A nice envelope with a big stack of cash.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
That's exactly what
That's all it takes to get on a plane and potentially kill us all.
Yeah. I just saw Johnny say in the chat, Australia has a camp set up for it. It's actually not even on Australia. What they're doing is they're actually putting people on this old refugee island, like they're quarantining them like a leprosy island. It's really terrible, actually. But they're not even letting these people on mainland Australia. That's kind of maybe what Trudeau should have done.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're setting up a camp in Australia, the country, but it's not even part of mainland. It's far away from the mainland.
Yes, there's Johnny here in the group chat, and he's in Australia. And he's pretty much saying that Australia. He's pretty much saying that Australia is Australasia, right? I mean, it's right there.
Yeah.
Australia's right there. Like Australia is fucked.
Bali is right between Australia and China.
No, I know.
Look at the map.
That's why I'm so concerned for you, because you're right there. You're surrounded by all of it.
I know, but I'm staying home. I thought about going to Australia, but I just don't even want to be in the airport. So, Johnny, what's the name of that island that they're quarantining people on in Australia? I forget the name of it. But actually, it sounds sad for the people, but I think it's great for the country.
Saint Gangang.
Controversial, but
Saint Gangang says China owns 80% of Australia. Wow.
Really? Is that legit?
See, look, now Johnny's saying they're shooting people in China. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
This is what I was talking about. We've seen these videos, and I have no idea what's going on or why people have guns. I haven't seen the videos of people
trying to catch quarantine escapees. That's what I really do think. Because especially like in that video we watched, it looks like a pretty ghetto area as well, right? Like it did look pretty communist ghetto. And that's kind of what I think. I think they're trying to find the escapees. Wow. I really do.
That's crazy.
It's like a bad movie, This is like we're living in like in a horror movie.
It is. It's I've never seen a horror movie this bad.
Yeah, I know.
Because the only movies that are this bad, they all end in world being decimated, right? Like
I know. I feel like what's that Will Smith movie where he's hiding in the bathtub with his dog? I kind of want to. I don't have a bathtub, but thinking about hiding in my pool with my cat.
Armageddon or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Something like that.
There's so many of
I
these
just have the
movies.
visual of him locked up in his house, and I'm like, that's Sony right now.
There's so many of these movies, Resident Evil and all these movies, Contagion. There's all these movies, Outbreak, and they're just devastating. And if we get as bad as that, then we're all done, right?
I know.
So that's why That's why Virgin Galactic stock is flying,
Yeah.
literally
I
flying,
want to go to Mars.
because the only solution is to find a new planet.
Mhm.
I mean, it sounds crazy, but the reality is, why do you think people like Mr. Wonderful himself, Kevin O'Leary, has bought a ticket for SPCE? Why are the rich buying these tickets for $250,000 to go to outer space?
Yeah.
Maybe they know
Why
something
are
we
all
don't know.
governments sending seeds to Sweden in that seed bunker? Remember I told you about that seed bunker? I watched this documentary about this seed bunker. I don't remember if it's Sweden or Greenland, or I'll find it and send it to you. But it's somewhere far in the middle of like the coldest land ever. And it's this concrete seed bunker, like goes far, far into a mountain crevice. And almost every country in the world has sent seeds that are being stored in there, including Canada. There was like Canada flags on a bunch of boxes in these seed storage. Why would the governments be buying into this if they didn't believe that something could happen?
Oh, they know.
It's 2 years old.
They know something's happening. There's 1,500 people dead and 67,000 infected. Obviously, they know something's happened. But Trudeau's got no problem with it. Trudeau's good. He's like, come on in. Oh, you're from China? Come on in.
Mhm.
Oh, you're
One thing
Canadian?
I'm curious about is China's healthcare policy. Do they have to pay for healthcare? Like, if they get sick, do they have to pay to get tested? Because that's another factor that you need to think about,
I have no idea.
right?
I have
Because
no
I
idea.
think there's high class and low class in China, not a lot of middle. And, if you don't have money, you're not going to get tested.
Well, that's the thing. Like Ebola took out 11,000 people in Africa. They were working on a vaccine, and then they decided, oh, they're all poor. They can't afford a vaccine, so they just forgot about it.
Yeah. They did test the vaccine on that one woman though in the UK, and it worked.
No, I know,
That's
but
what happened to
because
let them come over.
because the people in Africa were so poor and they couldn't pay for a vaccine, they just decided not to even use it.
Yeah, sad, eh?
Because they're like, okay, well, they
Pretty
can't
sad.
afford a vaccine. We can't make any money. So what's the use? Because it's a business, right? These are businesses.
Yeah.
They're companies. They need to have revenue.
Because it didn't become a global pandemic, because it got contained really well. This is becoming a global pandemic. Pandemic means that it's infection all over the world. It's not an epidemic, it's a pandemic now. And so there's absolutely money in that for people like Inovio, if they ever get access to people with the disease to test it.
It's a very, very, very scary situation right now. We have 88 people here, but we only got 30 likes. Guys, we got to get the likes game up. We're live with
Step it
Amanda.
up.
Yeah, we're live with Amanda in Indonesia. Ain't nobody else doing this. This is alternative media, guys. We are talking about whatever you guys want to talk about here. So please share your ideas, smash the like button, share this video, subscribe to the channel. We're not going to stop. We're going to continue to give you guys our opinions. Amanda is in Indonesia. She's going to continue to report for us. We're like CNN. CNN has people on ground zero. We got people on ground zero. I interviewed John. You guys saw that. He's directly in China, on the border of Macau and China. And we've got Amanda in Indonesia, which is literally surrounded by
secret denial country.
Amanda's in Indonesia and in Bali, and she's literally surrounded by all the infected countries. They're all surrounding her. So this is why we're speaking to Amanda, because we want to speak to people that are in the middle of this so we can hear exactly how they feel. Now, in Indonesia, does anybody think this is real? Like, what's the conversation with people there?
It's kind of half and half. Like I have some friends who aren't taking it seriously at all. They're buying into the whole, this is like influenza thing. And these friends are still out hanging out in the tourist areas, going for dinner in public places, going to the beach for sunset, surrounded by 5,000 tourists. They're not taking it seriously at all. And so I've just made it clear to them that they're not going to be seeing me for a while, period. And some people are like, oh, you're being crazy. I'm like, well, I really actually don't care how you feel. I really don't. I really love my life, and I'm going to keep it just the way it is. And I have no problem staying home. I like my home, but I'm not going anywhere. But then I do have other friends who are doing the same thing. So I have friends who have taken their kids out of their schools and they're homeschooling their kids here. Yeah, a lot of people. So it's
Smart.
kind of half and half.
I know that
But
we've
I think the key is to avoid the people that aren't caring.
I think that we've had quite a few members tell me that they're pulling their kids out of school too. I've had members in Florida, Miami, California tell me they're pulling their kids out of school. It's better to be safe than sorry. Even if you have to pull them out of school for 1 year, who cares? What's more important?
Yeah.
Like 1 year of education or your children's safety? I mean, it's a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I gotcha.
All right, Amanda.
Okay.
Well, you know what? Listen, you've been live for an hour here. We've been talking for quite some
Oh,
time.
wow.
I don't want to I don't want to
Thanks,
continue.
everyone, for popping in.
Yeah, so hopefully we can do this more often. You're going to be at home, so you're going to have time.
Yeah,
I'm going to
heaps of time.
I'm going to be home. I'm going to have time. I don't want to leave my house
Yeah.
either, to be honest with you. But I
No,
have to.
don't.
I have to because I take my son to soccer and and
I worry about you just like you worry about me, though. I really do, because it's kind of like you're in China in Van. I remember this.
yeah.
So I do worry about you guys too. So
Yeah.
please stay safe and don't let anybody that isn't safe come over. And I think everyone should do the same. I mean, hey, y'all can do what you want, but it's just, better to be diligent instead of saying, shit, I should have listened later.
So these guys want you. These guys want to see you. So maybe next time we can get a view of your beautiful pool and your villa and yourself.
Okay,
so
next time.
so people can put your name with your face.
We've been talking for so long. I'm still in a robe. I hadn't even got dressed yet. So next time I'll shower first and then so on.
Awesome. You are a legend. Stay safe, please. And
yes, you too. Much love, and everybody else. Just please be careful. Even if you don't think it's real, just please be careful for your loved ones. Just try appease us.
And
Yeah,
guys,
seriously,
guys, my heart goes out to everybody that has been touched by this illness all over the world. Everybody that's watching, please, guys, stay safe. Protect your loved ones, your friends, your family. It's Valentine's Day. Tell your friends, your family, your loved ones how much you love them. Spend time with them. We honestly don't know how much time we all have. We don't have a guarantee. Nobody does. Tomorrow is not guaranteed for any of us. So my heart goes out to everybody in China. I read an article earlier today that in California, they bullied a kid because he was Asian and said that he had the coronavirus just because he was Asian. This is where I feel like we have a lot of ignorant people in this world. And this is why I believe it's important for us to create awareness. The last thing anyone should be doing.
Living with lungs and blood can get it. It doesn't matter who you are.
But that's just not the same. That's not the only thing. Is like the last thing anyone should be doing is ridiculing, mocking, and bullying the people that are being affected by this the most.
Yes.
That's like going up to a bum.
Family members as well.
That's like going to a bum and stealing their money.
True.
Right?
True.
You're going to go to a bum. They're already having a tough life, and you're going to take their alcohol. You're going to take their food. You're going to take their money when they're living worse than you. You're going to go and you're going to talk to an Asian American, and you're going to say they have the coronavirus because they're Asian. You got to be the most ridiculously stupid person on earth, ignorant as fuck to do shit like that. So the reason why I do this, guys, is to create awareness so that shit like that doesn't happen. If I see a guy do that, I'm going to bitch slap him myself. The last thing you need to do is make it worse on the people that are being affected by this the most. So grow the fuck up. Don't do stupid shit. Have a heart, have a mind and a brain, and have a little bit of intelligence and understand that the people that are affected the most are the ones we need to help the most. The last thing we need to do is sit there and make it more difficult for people that are Asian right now, that are already living with this hell. They're living in hell. Don't make it more difficult for them. Don't make it more difficult for them. Don't be ignorant. Don't be stupid. Open up your heart. Open up your mind. We as humans are smarter than that. We are better than that. As humanity, we need to work together to preserve. This is what humans need to think about right now. Forget about money. Money can't save us, guys. Okay?
You can't take it with you either. God doesn't care.
This is about working as humans to save human race. That's what this is.
Exactly. So just be respectful to each other. Be diligent, be careful, throw out your stupid surgical masks because they're not doing a damn thing for you, and go get yourself an N95. Sorry, I just had to say that one. And seriously, just be safe.
Be
That's
safe.
it. And stop blaming people, because if you get it, it's your own damn fault because you weren't being safe. So just don't blame other people when we can take precautions to limit this. And I think we all need to just start taking precautions to limit this. You can't expect a government to force precautions on you, because that's when, you know, big panics and fears start. Just everybody do your own diligence. Be careful.
Absolutely. Stay safe,
Protect
everybody.
people.
My heart goes out to everybody that has been touched and affected. May all the dead rest in peace. I pray for those that are fighting for their lives all over the world, specifically in China, where this is really crippling the entire country and the economy. And I fear for all of us as far as our health and our economies, because we are talking about the number one largest economy in the world being crippled, shut down for 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's almost 4 weeks. They shut down January 20th for Chinese New Year, and then it just extended.
And I believe this is going to last, and you heard it here first, I last for over a year. I think that it will last anywhere from 12 to 18 months based on what experts are saying. I pray that it doesn't. I pray that it's done sooner. I pray that we find if that's the case, the death toll will be horrific.
Right, because there's going to be mutations, because COVID already is a third mutation from SARS and MERS. So there will be mutations. People will be self-medicating, causing mutations to happen. That's how superbugs happen. This isn't going to be over yet.
No.
So just if everybody keeps themselves safe, it's going to die off.
That's why I've been saying that we should close all of our borders and we should shut everything down for at least a month, 2 months, because that's the only way to stop the spread. But when you're flying people from Wuhan, you're flying people from Wuhan into your country, it's only going to get worse. How can it get better? It's not going to get better when you're flying people directly in from the epicenter of the virus.
Exactly.
I don't understand
it's
how.
Disgusting, really. It's scary. I'm sure they weren't bringing Ebola people over when Ebola was going around. They kept them all there. You know?
Yeah.
So, like, it's not a common flu, guys. It's a hell of a lot worse than that. You don't die from a common flu at 34 years old. No, you don't. No, you don't. So,
all right, Amanda.
To each their own, but just
thank you so much.
Okay, anyways, thank you.
Stay safe.
We'll chat soon.
And let's stay in touch.
We'll do it on video. All good.
And
have a
please,
great weekend with your kids.
Please, I will. Yeah.
Everybody for coming out. Stay safe.
All right, guys. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Please smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so every time we go live, you get access. Amanda, thank you once again. Stay safe in Indonesia. You are amazing.
Absolutely.
Love having you on the show.
Ditto.
This is Amanda, a true legend from Indonesia, reporting directly from the middle of the epicenter. She's literally surrounded by all the infected countries. And I really, really pray for you, and I hope you're okay. And I know you will, because you always said that you're unkillable. You always said that you're unkillable, right?
I am. You remember this? I am unkillable. But this time I'm being a little safer than I am in other states. I'm staying home, and nothing will kill me in my home. So yeah, you're right. I am unkillable. But yeah, lucky. Thanks, Rich. This was good.
Okay, Amanda. Thank you once again. All right, guys. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Stay safe. Happy Valentine's Day. Have a great weekend. Thank you for watching. I'm praying for you, praying for everybody in China. This is Rich from Rich TV Live. Thank you for watching with Amanda from Indonesia, and we're out.
Ciao.
Peace.
How long were we online for?
Oh, I think we're still online. Hold on.